welcome to another installment of Virtual Tastings with me, Jill Mott, here at Henry & Son. I am going to speak about today one of my favorite producers in northern Spain. I came across this producer in 2011. I was sick. I wanted a red wine. I wasn't sure what I wanted. I had ordered some wines from a place called Chambers Street that I love in New York, and I received a wine called Viña al Mate. We've carried it here before. It was a red wine from Ribera del Duero, northwestern central Spain, and a very cold place in autumn and winter, and a very warm place in summer. And I tasted this Ribera del Duero and was like, my mind was blown, because up until then, I've been in the wine world for about 20 years, right? And for the first half of that, I had only had Ribera del Dueros that were either cheap and light and like brambly fruit, and they could be from anywhere in Spain, or I had like really heavy, really rich, really oak-driven wines, and really thick and full-bodied. And although I liked those sometime, I was just enamored with the fact that this had body, but it had depth and complexity, but it was bright, light on its feet, because it was from these calcareous soils, which I'll get to in a moment. And so today I really just wanted to present two wines that we got in from Alfredo Maestro, who's a friend of mine. And Alfredo he's been making wine in this area since 1998. He grew up in a small village called Peñafiel, which he still has his bodega there to this day. His family still lives there. And it only took him 2 years. So 1998, he started making wine. In 2000, he started dabbling more in natural wine. So indigenous yeast, low to no sulfur additions, not filtering the wine, not adding anything or taking it away. And I loved the style of red he was making. Well, then that made me seek out more of his wines, and finally I emailed Alfredo in about 2012 and said, Alfredo, do you ever need help in the cellar? And he said, why, yes. Why don't you come and live with my parents, and I and a couple people that I have to come help me at harvest, and you can learn the way I do things. I was like, cha-ching, okay. So lo and behold, I get to go and I get to work in Alfredo Maestro's cellar to see the magic happen. And it was darn incredible. He makes reds, whites, he makes old school wines, new school wines, single vineyards. These are two of my favorites. We have them here at Henry & Son today. I can't wait to talk more about them. I'm going to get right to it because I'm thirsty. This first wine is called Amanda, or Amanda in English. And it is from the grape Garnacha Tintorera, which the grape itself, if you were to slice it in half, literally has red flesh, like black flesh. So when you're gonna pony up for, I guess, less than $30 for some of the most natural wine in Spain, which is awesome, for a rosé, look at the color. I just got a new camera, and I'm really excited that I can see me, can see I, awesome. But I'm looking at this, and looks almost like a very light red, which for all intents and purposes we could call it that. I do drink it though as a really dark rosé, and having made Amanda before in a different vintage, I know how it's made, so I figured why not tell you about it. There's no skin maceration here. This is directly from the vine to the bodega and to the press, and you get that dark color. And these are 50-plus-year-old Garnacha Tintorera vines that are on calcareous clay soils. So what that means is you get, from a wine that potentially could be quite rich, which it is in flavor and body, you get a high amount of acid, which is beautiful because it cleans up the whole process of drinking it, right? It makes it light on its feet, bright. It almost is like salt in a baked good. Like for the aromatics, they're really bouncing all around and are beautiful. And I really love how, I can smell it from here, how cherry laden this is, like Bing cherries, Rainer cherries, raspberry pits and raspberry seeds. Like it's very mineral driven, which is really, really beautiful. And this has actually been aged for a small amount of time, both in stainless steel and old oak barrels outside. And the reason why, I'm just going to take a quick sip. Whoa, it's so electric. This is full-bodied wine with electricity, folks, which is like mind-blowing. So this wine is aged outside through the winter. And because it's so cold in the autumn and the winter, this is a natural way to very slowly settle wine. You could still have a touch of sediment, but it's a way to use the weather to stabilize your wine and make it so you don't have 3 inches of sediment at the bottom, nor do you have to filter the wine, which is really, really cool. This is like one of the most bright wines from this area, honestly, I've ever had, and a great representation of Garnacha Tintorera. Alfredo, not hard to look at. He's a great looking guy and he's super fun. What I love about Alfredo is he is very welcoming. He wants everybody to learn. He is very good at what he's doing. He's been doing it for decades, which is fantastic. His father is still involved in helping him, which is cool. Which brings me to the second wine, Love Amor. So Love Amor is a white wine with some skin maceration, so we'll call it's an orange wine. It's got 7 days of skin maceration, and these Albillo grapes, which is they're plump, juicy, bigger berried grapes. They are planted. These are 100-plus-year-old vines, so a lot of intensity of flavor here. And because they're on calcareous, sandy soils, we get like the brightness that we have in the Amanda, but with this fluidity and this almost like buttery like glide, even though the wine is done in stainless steel mostly. And it's just such a beautiful, plump, delicious, mouth-watering wine that you still get the texture of an orange wine because it does spend the week on the skins. It's aged or semi-aged the same way this is, in the fact that it's done outside through the fall and winter and spring months so that it can settle naturally, which is cool, not filtered. And it's just a beautiful representation of, I think, what he does well in a style that is hard to find in this area of the world. Northwestern Spain especially Ribera del Duero, it can be very expensive and it can be extremely industrial. And that's not to say that those wines aren't good, but here we have under $30 awesome natural wine from a friend that they chime in at under $30, and they're just like, someone was in a rush to get somewhere. They're just a joy to drink. So from my glass to yours, everyone, enjoy a small piece of natural wine from Ribera del Duero, because we only have a case of each or so, and I bought a bottle. A friend today was like, what should I get? I was like, you should get some Love Amor. So there's not a lot to be had, but what we do have, we're very thankful for. So from my glass to yours, salud, enjoy. I hope you appreciate my accent, because it's pretty much the only language I can speak well, fluently. Fluently? I swear I've only had a half a glass of wine. Cheers, guys.
Bailadores, bailadoras, quiero que ahora bailen con esta rica rumbita. Tiene salsa, no pica, solo tienes que bailarla para gozar mi rumbita. Como mi ritmo no hay dos, como mi ritmo no hay dos. Bailadores, bailadoras, las que sudan en la pista, las que gozan con mi rumba y la bailan con buen compás. A ti, que rompe los zapatos cuando ya es la rumba. Ay, a ti, pa' ti, pa' ti. Toma con los amayas a gozar.